CEO's office, I think you're hearing some frustration, some concern, and I'd like your comments on that.
Thank you. A few comments regarding first the board chair's comments about what happened in Santa Cruz. As part of the normal routine that we go through after a fire, there is a damage assessment team that goes out, and constantly CDF will want to know when structures were burned down. We will create the assessed value of what was lost. So we do have an opportunity to look at structures we're out there, at least from a loss standpoint, but we will be out in some of those areas, and we can encourage staff to look to see what's out there and what's on the roll and what isn't on the roll. I think we all recognize Supervisor Pinch's comments as both valid and important to collecting money for us, but I think when you look at property taxes in general, and I don't know the number, I don't know, perhaps Jennifer knows the number. Most of the time, property tax county gets about 20 cents on the dollar. The remainders go to school districts and special districts and fire districts. How much? 30 cents on the dollar? So our treasurer is telling us.
I thought it was 28 cents.
So if you go out and hire a service to and give them a percentage of that, that's going to cost the county money, and most of the benefit will go to the school districts and the local fire districts. So it's just something to be aware of as we talk about these things. I think you saw in our budget memo, we're equally concerned about the businesses that are out there, for instance, in TOT. One of the curious things I look at when I looked at the last 3 years of revenue coming in TOT, is the amount of money that's coming in is fairly flatline, yet revenues are going up. So I think we do need to approach this strategically and look at all of what I would consider to be leakage that's happening in our sources of revenue that are available to the county, whether it be TOT, business licenses, or in property taxes that we're missing. And our office is starting on the TOT project first. We will add that in, but I think we'll bring it back to you with the discussion at the board, as Supervisor Smith has recommended, with referral to general government, I'm sure, after that, to do a more in-depth study. But there's a lot of leakage out there that I think we could capture and avoid having to raise some of the fees that we're raising right now.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Those are concerns, frustrations to your office for further evaluation and bring back to us. The item before us today is modification of the fee schedule. So I'd like to bring it back to this. I let it go astray slightly, but I now need to corral the cats, and let's get to the issue. What are we going to do with the fee modifications? Supervisor.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the effort to move this along, perhaps Ms. Wyatt could address the recommended action motion here if we are choosing to move forward. I think some clarification from your statement. I believe you said planning and buildings fee would be January of '09, did you?
Yes.
But it states here that planning and buildings fee takes effect 30 days after date of adoption.
Yes, and that's why I made the statement at the very beginning, because I wanted to clarify to the board that the actual fees being proposed here today by planning and building are not effective until January 2009, even though by law, when we actually do adopt the fees, there are 30 to 60 days, depending on what kind of fees they are, usually don't take effect until after the date of adoption of the fees. In this case, for this time, we are actually requesting the approval of the fees for effective date January 09.
And the same would be true, I'm looking at the solid waste fee.
Yes, just for those two.
January 09, not July 08.
Correct.
Just clarification.
Okay.
Thank you.
So where are we at, folks? I can't make a motion. Somebody has to, either to temporarily bring this back or continue this, or approve or deny to the clerk.
Just a question for
Clarification of Supervisor Smith's comments. We have a recommended motion that will now need to be amended based on the planning and building effective date. The resolution language will also be amended if that's what you direct to reflect that. But I don't see any reference to the solid waste fees being a part of that different date. So that's not called out specifically in the resolution.
Or I guess not. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe county council can answer that.
Right, in the resolution, if the motion is made.
Okay, to speed this along, I'm going to go and throw my support for the fee modifications with the concern stated that we examine the other areas of revenue correction / generation of taxation, et cetera, equally across the board on properties, TOT, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm hearing that CEO has received that concern and is going to be looking forward to that. I'm taking into consideration that actual studies were done, and this was just not some fly-by-night throw a 15% increase on the wall and it sticks, and that's what they're asking for. I know my staff is better than that. Yes, there was only one fee that went down, but they're going to fluctuate as these studies are conducted. I'm going to throw my favor behind this in an effort to move this along. Supervisor.
Thank you. I appreciate your stepping out and stepping forward and saying that you'll support it with the comments that the board has made. I think it's important to state that the City of Fort Bragg, our partner on the Casper facility, passed a recent resolution defining what they expected the fees to be. Subsequent to that, it's good to see that DOT has come forward with a modified schedule that reflects a modest increase that goes some distance in approaching what the City of Fort Bragg is requesting. We have not had a joint committee meeting with the city on this issue since the city passed their resolution, so I think this is a good step that we are moving forward if the board votes to on the fees for solid waste in general. So I think that the Casper situation has done a good job of helping us illuminate the nature of expenditures, and solid waste has spent quite a bit of time of separating out expenses, being much more accountable with respect to what all the services are that are provided, the costs associated with that, and breaking it down specifically to each transfer station. So that's been some clarification that's been good out of the Fort Bragg discussion. So we're not totally there with agreement with the city in terms of where we want to be with the fees, but it's good to see that DOT did insert, I think, a step in the right direction on this. So with the changes that I believe that the clerk could read, I would make the recommended action and motion with the clarifications provided by the executive office.
And I just want to add, I just talked to the DOT director. Apparently the garbage can fee goes into effect $1 in July of '08 and $2 in '09, and I will amend the resolution accordingly so the clerk will